Have you ever watched a movie so trippy, so disorienting, that it changed your view on reality? I'm sure for some of you that movie was The Matrix, Synecdoche, New York, or Enter the Void. Whatever it was, I'm sure that you can understand the feeling of temporarily or permanently having your view of reality changed, for at least the duration of the film. For me, that movie is Coherence. Now, I'm going to keep this video extremely spoiler free. I have the firm belief that the less you know about a movie, the better your experience is going to be watching it. Especially since nowadays, trailers give away the entire movie, plot by plot, beat by beat. Going into Coherence having no idea what the movie is about, any plot, any characters, I think is the most enjoyable way to watch this movie. So I'm going to make sure to not tell you guys anything. By doing so, you can be shocked further, and hopefully you'll experience the same revelations as the characters at the same time that they do, thrusting yourself into an even more immersive experience. Because that's what Coherence offers: immersion. And while I can't tell you about the plot or the characters, I can tell you a bit about production. Hopefully, this will highlight just how effective that the movie can be to an audience member. For one, the crew only consisted of 5 people. The camera follows around the cast in a handheld manner. There were only 2, at one point 3 cameras in the entire production. And so this handheld manner of the camera movement, getting right in the characters' faces, really makes you feel like you're in the scene with them, and you yourself, as an audience member, are another character. It only had a budget of $50,000, which, if you know movies, that is not a lot. Most movies nowadays have budgets of at least $100 million. So this is a very, very indie movie for a movie that was a legitimate movie with very real cast members who had done tons of other productions and got a real theatrical release, and is also on streaming platforms such as Hulu. There's also only one location in the movie, just the director's house. They filmed over 5 days while the director's 8 months pregnant wife was there. She said that they could film in the house as long as it was only over the span of 5 days, because she was planning on having a home birth. Because of the one location being a real house, there's never this feeling of being on set. The world feels very real because it is real, and it's our world, which only makes the experience a lot more immersive. My favorite fun facts, though, are about the cast. So this movie is comprised of entirely improvisational actors. So these are actors that specialize in their improv skills, and it really shows. The only character who isn't really an improv actor is one of the co-writers. He's kind of a mole on the set, steering the actors in the appropriate direction. This leads to really highly realistic speaking patterns. We get characters talking over each other, interrupting, speaking in a manner that you would see in a dinner party setting. Spoiler alert, there's a dinner party. It never feels like someone's waiting for the next line. It also helps that the movie is kind of an escape room of sorts. So over the 5 days, the only information that the cast members got was a brief description of what their characters were like and the relationships they had, as well as the goals for the scenes that they were shooting that day. So each day they would get a different, just one paragraph going over, these are the goals for your character today. These are their motivations. And they just ran with that and completely came up with the script on the day. So, if one little thing went differently, we may have a really different movie than what we ended up getting. The scenes were shot completely chronologically, which I think really helps with the immersion, because as the actors are figuring things out, we as audience members are figuring things out, and it really does feel like everything that's happening is happening. Only a few of the scenes were pre-planned just to tie things together. The actors didn't know that these scenes were going to take place, and they happen at the beginning of the movie and at the end. They're not pre-planned in the sense of like having the script written, but they are pre-planned in like, okay, this thing needs to happen and this thing needs to happen. And so, most of the movie is entirely improv, and even the scenes that are scripted really aren't. There's just no feeling of stuntedness here. There's no feeling of production or a movie, which creates an immersive experience for the cast and crew involved, the audience, and it just overall makes an incredibly trippy, immersive, great experience in the movie Coherence. Fun fact, or not so fun fact, depending on where you stand on this, they had to do some reshoots during months and months after, and one of the characters had already cut their hair. So $8,000 of the $50,000 budget was dedicated solely to making this perfect replica of that person's hair. They'd already cut it a lot shorter, so they had to make a wig that perfectly matched the movie, because otherwise it'd be obvious that they were reshoots. So just think about how much of the budget, the already tiny budget, was dedicated to getting this perfect wig. And let me tell you, I've watched this movie a ton of times, and I think that it shows, because I didn't even know it was a wig until I read that fact.